Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the last session of training. And this is the most important session that we will ensure that you understand the training content and also understand how to develop the proposal. May I see the energy of our participants? May you please send me emoji. What do you feel today? Okay, so I put my wording here. Oh, wow, someone said that 100 energy. How about the other participant? May I see the feedback from other participants? Hi, Mr. Didi. Nice to see you here in this afternoon. Thank you from Malaysia. From Thailand also, good afternoon. สวัสดีค่ะ And from Malaysia, 101% energy. That's great. May I see the participant from other countries like Philippines and Brunei Darussalam? And also, who else want to share the feeling? And Malaysia. Wow, some Brunei 70%. What happened to you? This is the last session, but I think that it will not be the last, the last, because we will have like some special session with some participants, some country as well. Now Malaysia said that full bar energy. Thank you so much. Full energy, right? Thank you, Frankie. May I hear more from Thailand? Thailand ka, how do you feel today? Oh, too tired after the school. Well, I think that you will get more energy from this session. How about participant from Thailand คะคุณครูไทยคะวันนี้รู้สึกยังไงบ้างคะ I just asked them in Thai language. Okay, so I think that everybody are ready for this session. Now we have 41 participants in the Zoom meeting. So let me start the session. Thank you so much from the Cambodia. So good from Cambodia. Thank you. คุณครูไทยคะ please say something in chat box. How do you feel today? Okay, so I think that we are ready to start the session. May I request for the next slide? So for the today's session will take for 1 hour. So I hope that the session will be finished by 4 p.m. So we will, as usual, we will have warm-up activity with 2 questions. And then we are honored that we have like Dr. Jess Fernandez, the Deputy Director for Program of the Senior Regional Center for Food and Nutrition, to be our invited speaker of today's session. And after that, we will have like post-presentation activity and open forum for the discussion. So if your school have not done the proposal or you have like, some problems to identify the challenge, so we will discuss in this session. All right. Okay. So may I request for the next slide? Now, I would like to see everyone. Everybody, please open the camera. I want to see that if you are the real to participate in this session or not. Okay. Everybody, please open the camera for the Thai school ka. May I see you as well? If you are logged in as a classroom. Some teachers outdoor, I can see from Cambodia. Okay, so open the camera. I would like to request photo. This is the last training session. All right, everyone. Keep smiling. Okay, ka. So we will take for 2 shots. All right, the freestyle. All right. Anything that you want to do. Okay, the first shot. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the second shot. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. And then we will take another group photo at the end of the session because we are still waiting for more participants to join us. Thank you very much. So may I get back to the warm-up activity. So everybody prepare mobile phone. and our team will send the link in the chat box as well. Okay, are you ready, everyone? Mobile phone, and even like you can open in the chat box. Right. The first question. What do you feel now that we have reached the last session of training? Dr. Jess, would you like to explain to our participants why you asked this question?
Okay, thank you very much, Piapa. Well, we would like to really see how our participants have really enjoyed the past session or feeling that they would like to have more continuation of this kind of training later on. So, because this is the last session, so we would like to see that and find out how they feel about being here for the last time because they will not be seeing each other anymore, right?
Yes.
So, but then I think we should already develop the friendship with each other, even though you're from different countries. So let's see how you feel right now.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now we would like to get more answer. How about in the chat box? If you cannot reach the Mentimeter by using mobile phone, you can type in the chat box as well. Yeah, from Thailand said that I'm excited. Excited to move on for the next step, right? To do the proposal. How
Mm.
about the others? So, okay, so very positive, very positive. Like you are happy, you are excited, you hopeful, great, because this is the last session. So you will have more time, right, to do the proposal.
I think there's one thing that I like the comment on more informed than before. Wow. Hopefully, you get continuous learning from each session, and now this is the last one. You can still learn something.
Yes, and I like the another answer that knowledge increase. Thank
Yes.
you very
Yeah.
much that for that. Very fantastic, right? Great. Thank you. Hopeful, energetic, right? That's great. Learning more, wow. Okay, so I think we have enough answer. 33 participants answer this question, and also in the chat box, some participants said that I'm excited and happy. That's from
Mhm.
Cambodia and from Thailand. Thank you so much. Okay, now we will move on to the next question. What major concept did you learn from the previous session? You can answer more than one. Right. Okay. What concept that did you learn from the previous session? What the key learning that you learned from the our training sessions? Jess, would you like to explain about this
Yeah,
question?
yeah. So like maybe what really caught your attention and you become more interested to learn about it. So, and what would that concept be that you would like to integrate or to put in your project proposal later on? So we would like to know that. Aha, so most of these are really sub concepts, Piapa. Yeah, there's also balance, nutrition, sustainability. Wow, school food environment. Yes. Aha. Wow, this is very good integration.
Yep. Moderation.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of these sub concepts that the participants really learn, and also this stakeholder participation. That's very good.
Let me see in the chat box. Any answer? Anyone?
Nice.
In here in the chat box from Cambodia, healthy school environment and how to improve the school lunch program.
Right, right, right.
So if you cannot access the Mentimeter by using mobile phone, you can type in the chat box.
Mm-hmm.
Sound policy, small word.
Yeah.
hidden in the middle of the word cloud.
Collaboration. Very good
That's
word.
great. Feasible. That is one thing. Yeah, feasible.
Wow, great. I know those are the things that are really discussed during the training, and am happy to see that the participants were able to really learn about these concepts. Very good.
Yeah. And now we have 55 participants in our Zoom meeting. So maybe I think that we can wait for a second, few seconds, or you want to go on for your presentation, Dr. Jess?
Yeah, we can. We can, if this is already the majority of the participants, Piapa. So in
Yeah.
fairness to the others who came on time, so we can start the session.
Right. Okay. So may I request for the next slide? Well, I think that this is the last training session, and I hope that this session will be quite useful for you to identify the key challenges and also develop the proposal. So, may I invite Dr. Jesus C. Fernandez, Deputy Director for Program of the Simeo Fund on the virtual stage. Dr. Jess, I know that you have been ready for this presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Piapa. Well, there's a call for prayer now, so I don't know if this is disturbed. Can you hear it? Can you still hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you very clear.
Okay, okay. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sawadee Kap. Magandang hapon. Harun Sasday. We have some Cambodians here. And Salamat Sore for our friends from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei, I think so. And we don't have any from Laos, Myanmar, Timor-Leste. So I think we are all complete. So welcome to this session. And we're very happy that most of you are present during the session. So as Piapa said, I will be discussing about what the training sessions in the past were, and also to discuss about the development of your project proposal. So let me share my PowerPoint to begin with. Okay. Can you now see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So like I said, this is just a recap of the training sessions that you have attended in the past. And then we would like to guide you on how you will develop your project proposal, because this is the ultimate output of this training. So in this session, we would like you to just reflect on the insights that you gained from the training sessions. I think in the activity earlier on, you have mentioned all the concepts, the important concepts that you have learned from that. I will just have to emphasize that in the next few slides. And then for you to really understand the essential components in developing your project proposal. I learned from Ms. Piapa that some of you may have already started developing your proposal, but there are some of you who are having difficulty in focusing your project proposal. So we are here to guide you on how to develop that during this session. Okay, so these are only the three objectives for our session this afternoon. And I will not be discussing so much. We will be devoting or giving more time for you to ask your questions. Because after this, we don't have any more other sessions except for the mentoring session that Ms. Piapa will be giving to you by country. And I think Ms. Piapa will explain about this later on. So let's go over the session on overview of balanced nutrition for school children's health and academic performance. I think there are 5 points that I would like you to really reflect on. Number one is when you do a feeding program, you need to consider the food environment in the school or even at home. That's why it's very important that parents are also involved, or any member of the community, of the school community, should be involved. And in the school, as teachers or head of the school, you need to always look into what kind of malnutrition problems exist among your students and how to address them. So you learn about obesity, stunting, wasting, nutrient deficiencies, and so on. Before you can have a feeding program, you should know already the kind of malnutrition problems present among your students. The next is to have a more consistent nutrition education. Nutrition education is supposed to be regular. Almost every day, the students should learn about nutrition so they can gain the habits, the proper habits of eating later on. And of course, there should be a specific school policies that relates to improving the health and nutrition status of your students. Because if everything about academic and nothing about improving the health and nutrition, then your students will not perform academically well also. Yeah, because there's already a relationship between good health and nutrition and also the performance of your students at school. And last but not the least, it is very important that you know the existing national dietary guidelines. So this will be your guide in coming up with your project on improving your school health or school feeding program. Okay, so that's session one. So let's move on to session two. I think this is one session that Ms. Piapa said you ask a lot of questions because this is all about food environment and also the role of the school canteen in improving your students' health and nutrition. But there are points that I would like to highlight that the school food environment really influences the eating habits of your students. I think even adults, when we are in an environment that is not supportive of proper nutrition, we just eat anything. So try to see what kind of school food environment is existing in your school. And this might also be a focus of your project proposal later on. Yeah. And then when we talk about school canteen, there are several roles that it play that is very critical in promoting the school health or the school food environment in your school. One is the school canteen should offer nutritious and locally available food and should also foster or promote a culture of healthy eating, because now our students are just eating anything fatty, sugary, and all those that are junk food. So the school canteen has the role to develop this kind of healthy eating. Plus, of course, I have mentioned adhering to national dietary guidelines. In some countries, they have already guidelines for healthy school canteen, like in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and also in Brunei. You have already this, or maybe I think also Thailand. I'm not really sure with Cambodia right now or in the Philippines, but try to learn about that. That would be your reference in promoting the good environment, food environment. Of course, they need to provide health and nutrition education. I've mentioned that in the first slide, and also teaching food hygiene standards. It is very important to note that not all schools in Southeast Asia have washing facilities. Not all schools in Southeast Asia have adequate water supply and also comfort room and so on and so forth. So maybe try to see this condition in your school and try to see how you can improve that as part of your project proposal if you would like this, if this situation exists in your school. So that's how we see the importance of having a healthy food environment and also a healthy school canteen. There are also 4 pillars to remember as far as healthy school canteen. So there's got to be a commitment from the school head or from all the members of the school community to provide a healthy school canteen. There's got to be a school canteen team that will see over the operation of your school canteen, plus, of course, the facilities. Unfortunately, again, in most schools in Southeast Asia, there are no canteen, or they are, but they are not really good facilities. So I think this is also something that we have to focus when we provide a school feeding program to our students. Plus, of course, food quality. So it goes and related to nutritious food when we talk about food quality. One thing that we learned about having a healthy school canteen is to have all the canteen staff to be trained and to have compliance to the national health and nutrition policies, programs, and guidelines of your country. It is very important that we follow the law and not to be just operating our canteen not according to the law of our country as far as health and nutrition is concerned. So this is all about school health, school canteen and school health, a food environment. Okay, so I just want to ask, am I going very fast or it's just fine with you the way I speak? Please let me know. Am I talking too fast?
No, it's okay, Mr. Jess.
Okay, thank you very much,
No, no.
Mr. Didi. So I continue, huh?
All
Okay.
right.
Hindi ka ba?
For session number 3, and this is all about
Hindi ko na
managing
pa. Sudah
school
okay?
feeding program.
Ah.
I think this was given, the lecture is from Professor Kitty. And I think Dr. Kitty emphasized that the school feeding program has several objectives. So maybe these objectives will also be some of your objectives in the project proposal that you will be developing. So when we talk about school feeding program, it aims to address malnutrition problems and improve the nutritional status of school children. And I mentioned this earlier also when we talk about healthy food environment. Another purpose of the feeding program is for your students, our students, to acquire these desirable eating habits. So not only junk food, but it's a mix of vegetables, fruits, protein, carbohydrate in adequate amount as required for their growth and development. The fourth function is because I think we found out in some countries students do not attend classes regularly because they don't have breakfast to eat. They go to school without breakfast or they don't eat anything. So the energy is low and that affects their attendance. And the school feeding program will help this if we will be providing this kind of program to your students. And last but not the least, what we would like to see among our students when we implement a school feeding program is we would like to see more improvement in their academic performance. We want them to go from one level to the other, or perhaps become honor students or bring achievements to your school. And like I said, nutrition and academic performance, they have relationship with each other. So these are the 4 purposes of a feeding program that you may also consider in the way that you will develop your proposal later on. Okay, so Dr. Kitty also discussed about what are the elements in a successful school feeding program. So you have to have a good budget, the involvement of the stakeholders, you have a very healthy school canteen, you follow the standards of your country, and also having a good food environment in your school. So it will go down to the output of having a healthy students. So when you look into these elements, you might like to consider this in the way you will develop your proposal later on. Okay, so that's session 3 from Professor Kitty. And some considerations that Professor Kitty just gave up. So again, these are continuous improvement on the knowledge of your teachers and the school canteen staff on proper nutrition. We need to follow strict food safety and hygiene protocols. And if possible, what we sell in the canteen should be fresh and high quality. And also the school canteen or the feeding program will always have a component on nutrition education that can be integrated in your classroom activities or even in extracurricular activities. And the 5th, you need to consider some students who have dietary restrictions or health conditions. So this is a very challenging thing to do because we don't have any, I mean, if you link with your local health offices, like in Indonesia, at the start of the semester, the local health office will measure the height and weight and also the nutritional status of the students, so they will know if they have some limitations or they have health conditions. So if you prepare a feeding program, you should know if their students can eat this or they cannot eat this, or so on and so forth, because of some health conditions. Okay. And the 6th one is practice the principle of sustainability. And I'm very happy when we have the Mentimeter. Most of you mentioned about concepts and principles of One Health, concepts and principles of sustainability or SEPs, because this will make your project long lasting. Yeah, like using locally sourced food or managing food waste, because this is also a health hazard if you don't manage the food waste, or we are just wasting so much food that we give to the students. And last but not least, from Prof. Kitty, is we need to involve the parents, not only the students, not only the teachers, but the parents, because the situation when the children goes home is different from the school. So if we educate also the parents, then they would know what nutrition, proper nutrition is all about. Okay, so now let's move on to the last or the next session, and this is all about SEPs. I learned from Miss Piapa, that during this session, you don't have much questions. Maybe it's you find it hard to understand very well, right? So anyway, so I just would like to mention this, that in SEPs, there are 4 dimensions. So they are economic, environmental, social, and cultural. And all these dimensions are found in your school, okay? So, and all these dimensions should be taken into consideration if you will introduce or develop and implement a school feeding program. Economic, so it should be not very costly, low budget, and sustainable. Environmental, so you talk about having local food sources available around your school and not getting from outside and not to waste them, and also think about not destroying the environment. Or perhaps one thing on environment is having a school garden, when the school garden become the source of raw materials for the food that you will be giving to your student. Social, because we need the interaction from many partners, the parents, the teachers, the principal, the students, the communities. So this is the dimension of SEPs. And also cultural, each province where you come from have different food preferences or different culture in terms of food preparation, in terms of food consumption, in terms of really looking at what food is all about. So those things should be considered when you do your proposal later on. These 4 dimensions, I mean. But of course, there are the core principles of SEPs, and you have mentioned this in the Menti earlier on. So it's all about moderation. I think you know this. It's all about reasonableness. It's all about prudence. And also, I think the resource person during this session emphasized the importance of starting simple at local level, but then you can generate global impacts. So we don't need to think about so difficult, so complicated things, but try to really see how we can start simple, especially what is the problem that we would like to address in your school, and then involve the local communities. And later on, when we have that, maybe it can be adapted by other schools near your area, and then you create impacts of what you have started in your school. And this is all about SEPs. So I think this is the beauty about integrating SEPs concept in the school feeding program. Okay, so last but not the least, I think this One Health concept training explains that the interconnectedness of human, animal, plant, and environmental health. So the human, when we talk about school feeding program, we are the human. So the students, the teachers, the heads, the parents, the community, and the animal and the plant serve as your food source. So animal like source of protein, and plant source of minerals, and so on and so forth. And then the environment. So if everything, all these 4 aspects are in good health, then it will be easier to improve our feeding program, because these are the elements that we would like to work on for this project that you will develop. And the One Health program really aims to achieve better public health outcomes by integrating all these efforts. So this is the essence of the One Health program. And in integrating the concept in the school feeding program, we can help manage foodborne diseases, like foodborne diseases, for example. We would like to minimize diarrhea, poisoning, and so on and so forth, because we don't have any food safety practices, or we don't practice good hygiene in our school canteen. So this concept of One Health could guide us in the way we will have to prepare and provide the food to our students that is more nutritious and safe and also involving multi-sectors for sustainable health intervention. I think in Cambodia or in Laos, or maybe the same thing in Thailand, that you have in the village level, you have a village education council. Normally, they are the ones helping out in food preparation also. Or in the Philippines, if I may say so, if you have heard about the Barangay Integrated Nutrition Program, the Bidani program of UP Los Baños, they are the ones also helping schools in preparing some food in some areas. But I'm not really sure right now if you have the Bidani program in your area for the participants from Philippines here. So, ladies and gentlemen, ibu-ibu, baba-baba, these are the summary of the 5 sessions that you have attended in the past week. So later on, if you still have some questions, we will open the floor, yeah, Pia Pa. So perhaps I will just summarize all, one more slide. From all these training sessions, there are 5 points that we want you to put in mind. First is really pay attention to the school food environment. And then you should know the nutritional status or the needs of your school children. And also be aware or familiar with the national health and nutrition policies, programs, and guidelines in your countries. Like in Indonesia, you have UKS, ya, Pak Dindi, dan sekarang ada Gerakan Sekolah Sehat, they have all these guidelines that you can use to help you in your school feeding program. And then you have to really continuously educate your students or the whole school community members, as well as other stakeholders, on the way you would like to involve them in promoting school well-being through your school feeding program. And last but not least, as this is also a program from SIMYOSEPS, I think it's very important that we integrate the concepts of holistic and sustainable approaches. Let's see the overall picture in your school. But start small, but hopefully it will solve most of the problem of your students as far as nutrition and health. So these are only 5 major messages that we would like you to remember as you develop your proposal. So I will stop from here, and perhaps you can have some questions before I proceed to the school proposal. Any questions so far?
If the participants want to ask the question, you can unmute or even raise hand, please.
Yeah, please
Or
raise
even
your
like
hand.
drop a question in the chat box if you are not convenient to open the speaker and camera. There is one question here, Jess,
Okay.
from Cambodia. Do we need to integrate One Health concept in the project proposal in all principles? I mean that could we just integrate only human and environment? So,
Wow, that's a very good question.
yeah.
Very good question. Yes. Well, even One Health advocates 4 dimensions, as you said, but it may not be necessary that you can really integrate them at the school level at the moment. But piece by piece later on, try to see how you would interrelate these dimensions or components in your proposal. For example, I think you cannot help but have them all together. One is because, like I said, the human component is already very clear. So the students, that is your focus. And then for the animal and plant, so for the animal, I'm not really sure much, but like, for example, in most of the schools in Southeast Asia, you already have your school garden. And the school garden is being used as a source of food and also nutrition education for the students. So you have already the plant component. And the environment definitely is when you will be doing your feeding program in your school canteen. So component of food waste management or no plastic policy or like fresh cooking or labeling, those are environmental component. So I think you can really integrate them all if you want to, but except for the animal, because and for the animal, definitely you can integrate that in the when it comes to where you will source your meat product, where will you get your fish, where will you get all this to be incorporated in your school feeding program? So you might be, when you do marketing to prepare the meals, so that's already the animal component of One Health. So you must learn that where you get this animal source food are from a healthy source. I hope I answered the question, Piapa.
Thank you so much, Jess. That is very clear because even in my answer in here, I say to them that not necessary to include all domains or principles of One Health, but select the most priority ones that have most connected to the school proposal. So
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
answer. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So now may I open the floor for any further questions before we can move on for the next part of the
Yeah.
presentation. All right, okay.
So with limited time, so I go on. Let's now
Yes.
discuss the, I would like to share again my slides and discuss about the proposal. I think this is very important. So now we move on to the proposal.
Jess, there is one more question from
Okay,
Malaysia.
right.
How we can achieve the sustainable manner?
How you can achieve sustainable manner
Yeah, in terms
of the
of the
program.
integration into the proposal. Yes.
Oh, sustainable manner. Yeah, I think I'm not really sure when you listen to the lecture of SEPS. I think the resource person um, explained about the concept of sustainability. Yeah, Piapa.
Yep, that's right.
Okay,
So,
so
so she
I think
mentioned about the community engagement
right.
and
Okay.
also maybe building the school farm within the school area
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the student can harvest the vegetable or even like get eggs.
Right. So
That's
those
right.
are some ways to have sustainability, but in the context of the school, how can we sustain a program? It's all about going back to the commitment of the management of the school heads, the teachers, because when we don't commit, we cannot sustain the program. And then having also a simple project, because like I said, small, start simple, like what Sep said, because from the simple things you don't need to require more resources, but because you only would require resources that are available in your school or near your school. So anytime you want them, you can have them, and so it can sustain your program. Don't ever come up with a project that you would need materials from outside of your province or from outside of your community. That would not be sustainable because you will not be able to implement your program without this material that you need. So that's another way of looking at sustainability of the program. And of course, funding is critical. So hopefully during the next few sessions from SEPS, they will teach you about how to generate funds or how to invite sources or sponsors to carry out your program later on when the grant from SEPS is already not used anymore. That's why in your proposal template, we have a question on what other sources of funds or resources you will use other than the 3,000 US dollars that you will receive if your school will be selected. So hopefully, SEPS will also guide you on, how to approach a donor or something like that. Because we also do that in our program in our center. We teach the teachers on linkaging and networking with local government as well as with private sector or even from academic institutions around their school.
Okay, thank you so much, Jess. There is another one question. Would you like to go on for another one question, or you want to complete this key takeaway?
Okay, is the question very important, Piapa? Let's take it.
Yep. There is one question from Malaysia, from Chong Tok Seng. She reflects that community engagement in our context is not enough to sustain, such as
Mhm.
like having a vegetable farm for the student every day needs the big scale.
Uh-huh. And so, well, it's the farm in the school is just one aspect, but like I said, it's really the commitment and dedication of the school head, the principal, and your team to really search for other sources of funds later on. Okay, so what SEPS will be giving you is only a mobilization fund to start your program and also make sure that the program that you will be doing is successful or effective. But after this, you need to sustain that. So after the period until when was that? June 2025, then you have to start thinking about, okay, the fund from SEPS is already gone. So how do I sustain my project? So now you start promoting your best practice. If you already established best practice from your program, then you can use this to sell your program to your local government or to any private sector in your area to support you, to sustain you in terms of financial support. So I think this is very critical, PIAPA, as a follow-up action
Yes.
from SEPS. So whoever will be selected from among the schools here, then the follow-up thing is how to sustain this in terms of fund sourcing or networking and partnership. So I think that is very critical.
Thank you so much, Jess, for that reflection.
Okay, so let's move on to the template of the proposal, yes, because it's already 4 o'clock, so we have limited time left. Okay, so uh, just to review, ladies and gentlemen, the objective of this program. So the first one is facilitate information exchange on One Health and SEPS. I think you have already acquired this, but what we would like you to do is how you will apply these concepts in your program. And that we would like to see from your proposal when you submit that. Okay. The third objective is build capacities of school community members in adopting a whole school approach. So hopefully this will be reflected also in your proposal. But for the first time, what we are doing now in this training, we are already building your capacity as a member of your school community. So you have already acquired some knowledge on how to build a school approach for improving the school well-being. But it should not stop from you. So when you already have your program proposal and implement that, hopefully this will also influence all other members of your community, school community later on. Okay, the fourth objective is develop a network. Like I said, it's all about networking. It's all about partnership. It's all about linkaging. So hopefully when you already implementing your program, you will really do networking so you can involve as many stakeholders as possible to support your initiative. And last but not the least is identify the model school. So now you are among the schools selected from your country, but later on, based on the proposal that you will be submitting to SIMUSEPS, we will select the best school, the best among the schools in your respective countries who are now attending this program to be the grantee. And hopefully that school will become a model school. And that model school will also influence, we expect that you will influence other schools in your area. So now that you are still proposing your project, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. If you say, I would like to be, our school would like to be the model school. So that means from now on, after this training, you should already be thinking about what kind of project proposal I have to develop so I can become a model school. And that's why we will now go back to the template of the project proposal. But before we do that, so let me ask Kun Piapa to give us this question again to all of
Yes.
you.
โอเคค่ะ alright okay
So
so
I have to stop sharing first, right?
yes please alright before we move on for the explanation about the proposal development and may I request my team to open the question.
So, ladies and gentlemen, these are just questions. So we would like to know what do you have in mind as far as your proposal is concerned? So this is the question. What kind of major improvement do you want to see in your school feeding program if you already have an existing school feeding program or if you would like to introduce it yet? But I think all of you have already a way of having a school feeding program. So there are 5 choices here, but you have to select only one will be the kind of improvement that you would like to see in your school feeding program.
And our team also send the link in the chat box.
Mhm.
For the participant who cannot click the link, you can tell us like what answer you want to give, like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so please go over this. We would like to really see what's in your mind so we can help you more in developing your proposal. Okay, so there's already 17 people, 19 people who answered. Okay. This number is school, yeah, Piapa, not people, right? This number, because some of them are in just one room, so I think they're only answering on behalf of their school, right? Or
That's right. Because this
okay.
one, like we asked by school, right? The
Okay.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
Okay.
are the number representing I think that the number of the school as well. So now we have about how many school answer us.
Okay. So if you look into this graph, ladies and gentlemen, so most of you would like to see improvement in the nutritional knowledge of your students as well as your school community members. And some of you also said improvement in the eating habits of your students. That's really good. So, no, not much mentioned about really improving school facilities, school canteen facilities, but at least two said improvement in the meal planning and offering of the food in this canteen and involvement of all the community members. Okay, so I think it's very clear that you will have this more or less these two first two, yeah, improving the nutritional knowledge of your students and the community members of your school, as well as the eating habits of our students. So when if we go back to the lecture of Prof. Kitty, the purposes of school feeding program is actually this. So now, if you still have thinking, where will we focus our school feeding program? This is already your answer. If you think this is the challenge that you are facing right now, then maybe this is where you would like to focus your project proposal later on. If you have other more questions on how to do this, then we will open the floor later on before I finish explaining again the template. If there are no more additional answers here, so let's go back to the proper PowerPoint presentation, Piepa. Okay, so
Yes, please.
um, I will not be explaining this too much. I believe Kun Piepa already gave you the template months ago, right? Kun Piepa, but I would just like to go over them quickly, and then we can open the floor for discussion if there are other things that you need to clarify or you don't really understand. Okay, so these are the elements. There is a project title, executive summary, background and rationale, objectives and significance of your school proposal, implementation duration. Wait, why I cannot and then expected outputs and outcomes, your beneficiaries of your proposal, your strategies and activities, plan for community and parental engagement, plan for sustainability after the program, the proposed utilization of the 3,000. I have mentioned this earlier. What are your other fund sources and monitoring evaluation plan and the potential challenges that you foresee you will encounter in implementing your proposal. So let's go back to them one by one. So the project title should already reflect what your proposal is all about. I think the more interesting it is, the better, you know. Indonesians as a way, Pak Didi ya dan teman-teman dari Indonesia, Indonesians has always this way of coming up with acronym to be the title of their project, school project. But what is important is when we read your title, we already know, this is all about this. Okay, so don't come up with a general title. Okay, executive summary, again, 400 words, but then these 400 words already tell what your project is all about in relation to the title. Your title and the project summary should relate to one another. Hopefully, your title is not different from what your executive summary is all about. Okay?
Dr. Jess, may I interrupt a bit? I just send your presentation file and also the templates in the chat box for the participants so they
Okay.
can download from the chat
Yeah.
box.
Thank you very much, Piepa. So background and rationale. So again, why are you introducing the project? And then what is your objectives? And why is it important to have this project? So you need to be very clear about this one. Okay, so I think I saw a raised hand. Nong Kong, can we entertain this now or later on, Piepa? Okay, so if not, then we go on. And then you already know the duration. It's only about 6 months starting after this training. You start developing your project proposal, and then we expect you to implement up starting January, and then you end up in June, right, Piapa? And
That's
then for
correct. That's correct. Yeah.
expected outputs, we want to see very concrete outputs. Yeah. We would like you to refer to your objectives. Well, when you say you need to improve the nutrition knowledge of your students and your community, the expected output should be related to your objective. So how much improvement you would like to see in the nutrition knowledge of your students and your school community members? And how can it be measured when you do the indicator? So I think there's already a template prepared by Ms. Pia Pa, so you can refer to that template later on. Of course, the strategies are very important. What will be the approach that you will use to achieve your objective? And this is also in the proposed activities template that you can put it up. And what is important is how you would integrate the concepts of SEPs and also One Health in your strategies and activities. We have been mentioning about involving the community because this is something that would allow your program to be sustainable if there is involvement from your community members, because they can contribute to the implementation of your program. And then the plan for sustainability, we have discussed that earlier on. But if you have some more questions, then we will entertain your questions on this one. And 11 component is how you use the 3,000. So we need to have the budget breakdown. We don't have any template, but it will be nice if you have some categories like, are you going to pay the services of other people for honoraria? What kind of materials you would need? What kind of equipment that you will use for your program? Or would you spend for transportation or travel or communication and so on and so forth? So we would like just to see how you would use the 3,000 if you will be selected as the pioneering or model school for this program. And of course, you might like to emphasize also, if you think that 3,000 is not enough, then how would you generate other funds? So maybe we'd like to know also. Plus, of course, the monitoring and evaluation, it is very important. Most of the programs, they do not succeed, ladies and gentlemen, because they don't monitor, they don't document the progress, they don't evaluate. So this is a very important component of the program. So how do you monitor? So like, say, we will meet monthly, the team will meet monthly to discuss the progress, or you will interview the students, or anything that you would like to do just to monitor the progress according to your time schedule. So that's why it is important that you have a very realistic time schedule of implementation so that you can monitor the progress of your project. Last but not the least is we would also like to know, what do you think will be your challenges in implementing your proposed project so that SEPs can help out and give more mentoring to you later on. So these are the components or the elements of your project proposal that we would like you to submit to SEPs. I think later on, Kun Piapa will be providing you information on where to submit it, how to submit it, and when to submit it later on. So I'll stop my discussion here, and now we are opening the floor again for questions and answers.
Thank you, Jess.
Question open.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Jess.
you very much for your listening.
So I would like to see that if you have the question, and I saw Ban Nong Pung Keo from Thailand raise the hand. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question? Or if any other participants would like to ask the question to Dr. Jess, please take this opportunity.
Okay, I think there is a question here. I think this is a very good question, Piapa. This is from BNSRTK MIDI. This is from Brunei, right?
Yes.
The question is, to be clear, can we use alternative feeding programs outside producing lunch meals, such as breakfast program, right? Yes, I think you can do this, Piapa, yeah. So because initially this program is all about school lunch program, right, Piapa?
Yes,
But
that's right.
because we learned that not all countries have school lunch program, but they have other ways of school feeding program, like having breakfast together. Like in Indonesia, this is very common in Indonesia, that the students are encouraged to bring their breakfast together in school, and then the students eat together or eat lunch together, but there is continuous nutrition education with this one. So the teachers would have to see what they are bringing in school and see whether the food that they bring are nutritious and diverse. And also they will feed back to the parents, and also to the feedback and telling the students that maybe this time you have to add more vegetables, so on and so forth. And then they will use the school garden to let the student learn what this vegetable is all about, what is the nutrient content of this vegetable. So they would learn if they are uh, anemic, so they have to eat this vegetable. That can be done, not just limited to providing school lunch meal, right, Piapa?
Yes, that's right, Jess.
Okay. So
Okay.
I hope I answered the question.
Yes, there are more questions here. One from Indonesia. Pak Didi, would you like to open the microphone and ask Dr. Jess?
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Piava. I would like to ask to Mr. Jess, but first, thank you for your explanation. Thank you for explanation, Mr. Jess. This is very clear, and I do a little understand and more understand about that. But there is one question I want to ask you. I want to ask to you, how? What would we do if the elements of the project proposal can be reached, all of them? What would we do if we can reach all of the
Oh,
elements? Yeah.
okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I think this is a good question, and I think this is also something that Sim Yosef should answer. Okay,
Yeah.
Yes,
great
that's right.
question. Good
Jess,
Yeah.
question. So I
how
think I would,
about, yes,
yeah, let Miss Piepa answer it, Pak
Mm.
Didi.
Yeah.
yes. Thank you, Pak Didi, for your question. And then
You're
for
you're
us,
welcome.
I understand that not all the answer could be complete by the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what you can do is that when you finish the draft of the school
Mm-hmm.
proposal, you can send it to me and
Oh
ask
yeah.
me that, any area that you can think about it, or
Yeah.
what I can give the inputs to
Mm-hmm.
enhance your proposal,
All
so that
right.
it would be like more on the two-way communications, that you can
Okay.
share the
Right, right.
proposal to us and we
All
can
right.
give the feedback, and
Yeah.
then you go back to revise, improve, and then you can submit it on 16 September.
All
Yeah.
right. All right.
So I
Thank you,
think this
Mr.
is very
Piapa. Thank you.
important question. And so what I will recommend is, like I have been telling, and also the concept of steps, start simple
Mm.
first, don't complicate it,
Yeah.
and then so try to see what is feasible to be
Yeah.
done within 6 months.
All
So,
right.
but
Yeah.
then it doesn't stop you for that duration. Later on, you can continue on.
Yeah.
But what's important is, given the time duration of 6 months, what should I do and what can I do with the given budget of 3,000 US
All right.
dollars.
Mm.
So the same question here from Mr. Badria, I think from Malaysia, yeah. Is it, just to confirm, yeah, is it Mr. or Miss Eskatebong Badria?
Mm.
So would it be okay if I have more than one objectives, or would you suggest I focus on one big issue that our pupils are experiencing? Good question. Like we said in the template, you have one general objective.
Mm.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
specify your general objective. For example, my general objective for my school is to improve the nutritional knowledge of my students and school community members. That's one general objective. But a specific objective, you can have one or more specific objectives to
Yeah.
help achieve your general objective. Yeah. For example, if the general objective, like I said, to increase the knowledge, nutrition knowledge of my students, the specific objective could be one is
Mm.
for the students to understand, well, for the student to improve, understand the concept of proper nutrition, something
Yeah.
like that. So,
Mm.
that is like, well, to improve, to help my students understand the concept of proper nutrition by integrating them in the school subjects.
Yeah.
That is very clear as a
Mm.
specific objective, and it's doable to
Yeah.
reach
Yeah.
your general objective, something like that. So you can come up with as many specific objectives provided that it supports the general objective first,
Mm.
right? And then the specific objectives will later on be translated into your strategy or activities later on. So that's
Mm.
why in the
Yeah.
template I said your strategies and or activities should be related to your objectives.
Yeah.
So in the end, when you monitor your activities, then you would know that you are already achieving this objective through the strategy or
Mm.
activity that you put in your proposal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Jess. And yeah, very great explanation, Dr. Jess. Yeah, that is the input comment from our participants.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Any other questions?
Don't be shy. I haven't heard
Yes.
from the Filipino participants. So
How
any
about the
question
Brunei
from the
Darussalam
Philippines
participants, Philippines
or Brunei?
participants? Would you like to open the microphone and share the status of your proposal or challenges that
Right.
you have, or even like Indonesian participants?
Nothing is okay.
Don't be shy. So this is the time to learn. This is the time to share. And so maybe other participants would also give their comments to help you address your challenges.
Yes, and I would like to ask the question to Thai participants. อาจารย์โรงเรียนไทยคะ you can ask อาจารย์สามารถถามคำถามเป็นภาษาไทยได้เลยนะคะ เดี๋ยวจะแปลให้ค่ะ โรงเรียนไหนที่ต้องการถามคำถามนะคะ เปิดไมโครโฟนหรือว่ายกมือได้เลยค่ะ so sorry that I just asked them in Thai that do they have
Yeah,
any
yeah, no
question
problem.
yep โรงเรียนบ้านหนองกุ้งแก้วคะโรงเรียนตชด.อาโอยาม่า โรงเรียนบ้านทับทะเล Okay, there are 3 new questions here.
Okay, so this is one from, I think this is from Cambodia. To me, I feel difficult to write the project objective due to currently we have a lot of issues. Okay, so keeping track of the project progress could be one big challenge. Well, let's go first to Cambodia. So what is the current issue? Can you share your a lot of issues because you said a lot of issues. Can you share your issues so we can help you?
Miss Chumtina, you can open the microphone if you like to. Miss Chumtina, you can open the microphone.
Okay, thank you, Piyapan and Doctor, for giving me a floor for share my idea. Actually, to me, from the experience and current situation in the my school, we found that we still have a lot of issue in the in our school and also a community as well regarding to the nutrition habit practice include when the children access the food in the the cellar not only in the
Yeah.
in the school and outside the school and also at the community because we living in at the rural community so the parent has not have much money to give to their children and then they just offer a little bit money and children could access the cheapest good to eat at the school and sometimes outside school they don't care about the nutrition food to supply to the children. And regarding to the school facility such as hand washing and water supply, we also are limited. So sometimes we know that we want to improve the knowledge of the community and the student parent, but we worry that the project we have a little bit amount to implement and we worry how could we success with this project and to ensure our project to be sustained. Yes, but
Mm-hmm,
however,
mm-hmm.
we will try our best to take this opportunity if we have the chance to win with this project. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Puntia. I think you have already addressed your problem. That is one important thing. You identified already the problem in your school, and then try to see that problem. How do you now solve the problem by coming up with your objective? So, for example, if you say uh, very little now, but you mentioned about there's no participation from the parents and also from the community because they come from poor families, right? If I got it right. So I think that could be your objective. Your objective is to increase the participation of parents and community members in improving the nutritional status of our students. That is an objective. So how do you now increase the participation of the parents? So now maybe you will be doing gathering the parents, orientation, something like that. Or if you would like, every time you start the school program, I start the school year, you call the parents, right? So those kinds of things, or develop materials, brochure, simple leaflet, and then you will give that to the parents so they will know what nutrition is all about, or involve them in the planning of your project from the very start. So when you're now developing your proposal, maybe you can have to call a meeting all the parents, and then you will tell them, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to start a school feeding program in our school. So you get their opinion. You can get their opinion and try to let them tell you, oh, we can contribute, we can have this, we can have. So it's all about consultation. That is the way I see it very clearly in your problem there. It don't
Net.
make the so it's all about having consultation first. So that could be one activity in your project proposal. And this could be the same thing in other schools who are attending here. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting the opinion of all your stakeholders. So the program will be not only by your school, but by the community surrounding your school. Sometimes we need to establish this feeling of ownership. It's not only the project of the school, but it is the project of the whole community. And so if you have that, then you can get their support to implement the program. That's my suggestion for your problem, yeah?
Thank you
And
very much, Dr. Jess. Very clear explanation.
okay, so this one again from Badriat, keeping track of the project progress could be one big challenge. Yes, it is. Monitoring is always a big challenge. That's why you need to have your plan. So later on, I think, I guess, well, try to just write it down. So, for example, like if how can you, for example, now you are teaching your students. So how do you keep track of the progress of your student? So you give exams, right? And then you see the scores. Then you see whether this student is performing well and this student is not performing well. And so when you say that this student not performing well, then you do something about it. Then you do tutoring, then you do special session. The same thing if you would like to have this kind of project. So try to foresee what could be the monitoring or tracking the progress, because you will have in the template, you will need to identify the indicators of success. So for example, okay, for next month, you already train the community on nutrition education. So you just monitor it. So how many attended? That will be your indicator, no? How many practice? That you can be the indicator later on. You will have to develop that. But your tracking the progress is depending on the indicators that you will develop. Yeah. But I think this is something that really, hopefully, senior SEPs can still give some mentoring later on. Yeah.
That's right, Jess. Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So, any more questions? I think there's a lot of from Chong Teng Seng. Would I like to know how to measure students' physical and mental well-being, how to relate food nutrition improvements to students and well-being. Okay, I think this was mentioned by Dr. Ade. Well, for the physical, you can measure the height and weight, anthropometric measurement, you know that. And if you can do that, you cannot do that, then you have to contact your local Ministry of Health to do that for yours. So again, this is all about networking. Again, this will be one of your strategy to network with local health offices or clinic, so they can help you monitor or measure the status of your students. When it comes to mental health, this is more challenging because it will really need some experts like psychologists, persons like that. That although there are instruments to measure the mental health of your student, so you can search the internet and maybe you can have, but you need to have a guidance from a psychologist or a psychiatrist or anybody from the Ministry of Health. You cannot do that by yourself. That's why it's very important to link with proper authorities who can help you measure these indicators of the status of the health of your students. So for the how to relate food nutrition improvements, yeah. So again, if the students are healthy, then the relationship is they will develop their cognitive capacity. They can think more, they can focus more on their studies, they can participate more in your classroom, and they will be more active. Yeah, because you have your physical education also. That is the relationship. When you have improvement in nutrition, then the well-being is shown by the performance in your classroom, their energy level, the interaction with your students, and so on and so forth. So that's how you will relate that. That will be your indicators of success later on. Okay, what else? I think there are other more questions, Piyapa.
No more question.
Do we
Thank you
still
very
have
much.
time?
Yep, we do. And if you actually we are over the time at the moment, but
Okay,
anyway, we can accommodate if there are more questions from our
sure.
participants. All
So
right,
I'm
okay.
I'm more
So
than
since
willing to
Dr.
do.
Jess is with us today, but I think that you should take this opportunity to, to send a question to him because he's the expert in
Yeah.
food and nutrition. So our participant, if you would like to ask the question to Dr. Jess, please unmute yourself or even you can raise hand.
Piyapa, for our Indonesian participants ya, jangan malu Ibu dan Bapak kalau mau tanya pakai bahasa Indonesia silakan saja. Nanti saya bisa jawab bahasa Indonesia dan nantinya saya translate juga pakai bahasa Inggris. Jadi semua peserta bisa mengerti juga ya. Silakan.
Wow,
The
your
same thing with the
Indonesia
Filipino.
bahasa very fluently.
Also for the Filipino participants, if you have some questions, wag lang mahiya. So, tanong lang, you can use Tagalog. Pwede Tagalog, dan ako pwede juga. I can answer also in Tagalog. Okay? But not in Thai. Piyapa will answer in Thai or Cambodia.
อาจารย์ไทยคะ you can ask the question in Thai ค่ะ อาจารย์สามารถถามคำถามเป็นภาษาไทยได้เลยนะคะ ไม่ต้องอายนะคะ Okay, what
Okay.
is one more person? Raise the hand. Frankie from Indonesia.
Frankie, okay. Silakan,
Okay,
Pak.
Frankie, would you mind, Pak, Bapak, you can open your microphone.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak Jess.
Ya, silakan Pak
Okay,
Frankie.
can you hear me? Like
Ya, tapi suaranya
Pak,
capi ya.
relating to
Mungkin
ya.
sinyalnya nggak bagus ya. Kurang bagus Pak Frankie.
Oke, saya pakai bahasa Indonesia nih. Karena Bapak
Atau
tahu bahasa Indonesia yang bagus.
off your kamera saja. Off your kamera.
Oh,
Microphone saja.
ya Pak. Di
Ya,
sekolah
benar.
kami itu, di sekolah kami itu di SD Noel Baki. Itu di daerah terpencil, Pak. Nah, banyak sekali kewalan-kewalan yang kita alami di sekolah. Tapi misalnya dari orang tua tadi yang seperti Pak jelaskan itu. Nah, di sekolah sendiri untuk antisipasi itu ada program yang dikasih dari sekolah untuk membeli bibit sayur. Jadi di sekolah itu kasih bibit sayur ke masing-masing siswa, nanti mereka itu tanam di rumah. Setelah hasilnya sudah bagus, mereka bawa ke sekolah separuhnya untuk mereka konsumsi. Nah, jadi saya rencana untuk buat itu juga dalam proyek karena sekalian implementasi dari tadi indikatornya SEP itu yang 4 indikator itu kan masuk di situ Pak. Apa salah satu seperti itu ya Pak ya. Terus dari puskesmas juga ada kerjasama untuk mereka menghitung walaupun program makan siang kami ini bukan tiap hari sebenarnya. Kami hanya siap setiap hari Kamis, kami siap makanan lokal seperti pisang, ubi, jagung. Kita kadang orang tua bawa juga dari rumah karena memang di tempat itu kita daerah kering Pak, jadi itu yang jadi masalah. Tapi sumber daya air ada sih. Nah kita coba kemas itu dalam bentuk local food, jadi kita berikan ke mereka setiap hari Kamis. Nah untuk menjangkau kalau misalnya setiap hari feeding mereka dengan makan pasti berat. Tapi yang saya lihat ada potensi dari sekolah kami yang bisa pakai metode yang tadi. Jadi diberikan ke orang tua bibit, bahkan sekarang mereka kasih yang bibit ikan lele Pak. Jadi mereka pasang di rumah, nanti hasilnya mereka bawa ke sekolah. Jadi itu sebagai tambahan makanan di sekolah dan juga tambahan penghasilan bagi orang tua. Itu yang kita lagi kerjakan sekarang Pak. Ya.
Oke.
Ya, Pak.
Oke. Terima kasih Pak Frankie ya. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think Mr. Frankie only described about what's happening in his school. They have a program that they give seedlings to the students, and the students take care of the seedlings. And once the seedlings already grow, they bring it back to the school, and then that becomes the source of food. So they cook and they give it to the students. But they also have some idea to also involve the parents, particularly for their fish production. They will be giving catfish that they can take care in the school, and then later on that will be also used for the feeding program. And other than because the challenge is if they will be coming up with a feeding program every day, it will be very costly. So they only have it once a week. It's okay. So my suggestion, frankly, is like, and also for the rest. So it doesn't. I think Simulsap doesn't also expect you that you have a feeding program every day. Okay. So there are two possible scenarios, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. The first scenario is if your school already have a school canteen and you provide food in your school canteen, then the most possible thing that you will do is to improve the kind of food that is available in your canteen. Okay, so it may be like it should not be provided free to the students because it's very costly, Piapa. But what we would like you to look into is the improvement of the quality of food that is being offered in your school canteen. That is already an improvement. So how do you do that? Then there's got to be training for the food vendors or the staff of your school canteen. I think this is what Prof. Kitty already told you about. Okay. The other scenario is your school might not have the school canteen yet, but you are already undertaking some feeding program like once a day, once a week, that you give food to your students, like Miss Frankie said, or you have a program among your students to bring their lunch or their breakfast and then eat together in your school. So if this will be the case from you, again, what we would like to see is the improvement on the kind of food that the students are bringing when they have breakfast together or lunch together in your school, or if you will be providing a meal once a week, then you must make sure that what you will provide is already nutritious and healthy food to your students. So again, this is already an improvement that we would like to see in your school. So again, how to make sure that you have a healthy meal or food, then like Dr. Ade said in the first lecture, training lecture, you need to follow the standard of your country. So you have the food pyramid, or you have the, in Indonesia, you have isi piringku, or in the Philippines, pinggang Pinoy, or I don't know what you call it in Malaysia or in Cambodia or in Thailand, but you have already the standard of what a plate should contain. So that is a way of monitoring it. Yeah? Yeah, Piyapa?
Yes, Jess, thank you so much. It's very clear explanation. So I hope that he already addressed the issues that many teachers, many schools would like to find out. But anyway, there is another question, Dr. Jess from Malaysia. Can you suggest
Okay, please.
practices or ways to change eating habits for students with obese? Some of them have
Okay.
problem to eat more. Yeah. I think that
Okay.
this
Yeah.
question has been asked by the school from Brunei Darussalam and Malaysia.
Okay, yeah. So well, first is if you have your school canteen, check if you have so much food that are sweet or sugary drinks, then or pastries or cakes or whatever, then you have to limit that, because what you offer in your school canteen is what your students will buy. So, but if you already limited those sugary snacks or drinks, then you will prevent obesity. Or what, like for example, in Brunei, you please go back to your national guidelines on healthy school canteen. You have already a policy that requires the school to label your food, even in Malaysia, I would suppose so. Like uh, we follow the traffic light policy. So there are food to be labeled as red, and then there are food to be labeled as green. So it means when it's green label, the students can eat that. Red label, you are prohibiting your students to eat that. Yellow light, then maybe they can eat it in moderation. So that is now also enabling the students to choose which food they should eat or not. Okay, in the Philippines, one of the school partners that we have, they label the food sold in the canteen with the calorie count. It will be very challenging. That's why you need to have a nutritionist in your school canteen. But if you don't have that, I'm just saying that some schools, one school in the Philippines, all the food that they sell in the canteen, they have the calorie count. So they already teach the student how much calorie they can take per meal. So when they see the label, then they will already know, okay, I will not buy this food, only buy this. So I will be within the calorie requirement that I need for lunch or for breakfast. So those are the things. But most importantly is you have nutrition education, and also come up with posters, put posters in your cafeteria, on your school about nutrition. And one important thing is the teachers should set the example. If the teachers are also obese or big or eating anything, no control, smoking, everything, the students will look at you because you are the model of our students. So to change the attitude of the students, let the teachers be the model for them. Okay?
That's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Jess. Is there any other questions? I see the raised hand from Pak Didi.
Okay, Pak Didi again. Silakan Pak
Uh,
Didi.
yeah, maybe this is the last question, Mr. Jess.
Okay.
Actually, I appreciate that your Indonesian is very well, so I will ask you in Indonesian, just in Indonesian. Mr. Franky.
Oke, silakan Pak.
Jadi sama seperti Pak Franky tadi katakan, bahwa saya itu baru menjadi kepala sekolah itu hampir setahun ini, baru setahun ini. Jadi di sekolah kami ini saya baru menjadi kepala sekolah baru setahun ini, Pak. Sehingga tiba-tiba ada program seperti ini, ya artinya ini challenge untuk saya untuk meningkatkan kapasitas sekolah. Memang sekolah yang saya pimpin sekarang ini juga berada di wilayah-wilayah yang agak terpencil gitu, Pak ya. Artinya kami ada di perkebunan teh, di tengah perkebunan di daerah Bogor. Dan kebanyakan anak-anak dari kami itu kan mayoritas datang dari para pekerja buruh perkebunan yang sangat terbatas, terutama dari sisi finansial gitu. Nah, makanya barangkali dengan program seperti ini saya ingin berusaha bagaimana meningkatkan kapasitas para peserta didik kami, anak-anak saya di sekolah. Oleh karenanya, meskipun ini programnya sebetulnya agak berat nih program buat sekolah saya gitu, Pak. Karena aspek-aspek yang saya lihat sekarang ini kebanyakan di sekolah itu belum tercapai. Tetapi itu tadi, seperti yang Bapak sampaikan bahwa ini tantangan. Apakah bisa atau tidak, tetapi saya percaya barangkali ini juga pembelajaran yang baik, yang bagus bagi saya untuk mencoba. Jadi mungkin tidak semua fokus akan saya sampaikan, Pak. Itu saya
Okay. Terima
beratkan
kasih
pada
Pak Didi.
saja.
Just to explain, ladies and gentlemen, so Pak Didi, like Pak Frankie, they are newly appointed school heads, and their school is very small, and they are located in rural area, and they are in a agricultural sector, and that's why he finds this program as a challenge for him. But then they will try their best to participate in this one. Maybe I just have to give some suggestions, Piapa, to Pak Didi and also to Pak Frankie and all
Yes.
other schools that are, because all of you are in the rural area. Okay, try to see the resources that you have. Okay, so do you have adequate land area? Okay, so one thing is like what resources you have in the school. If you have a very good land area, you might as well convert that into a school garden that you can really produce a lot of vegetables that you can use as for your feeding program, or you can use that to cook food and sell it in your canteen, or even into one-day school meal program. Okay, for example, Pak Didi, dari mana, di Bogornya mana?
Saya di Puncak, Pak.
Puncak. Okay. So
Yeah.
okay. You have to really link. For example, in Bogor, Pak Didi, you have heard about Simio Biotrop, ya?
Yeah.
Simio Biotrop di Bogor itu, di Tajur itu. They provide seedlings to the schools, and also they have lele production or catfish production. So you can contact them and get some support from them. The same thing with other schools. If you would like to venture on school gardening, try to see whether you have enough space for vegetable gardening and or fish production that does not use a big pond. I don't know what they call it in English, but Payapa, so there is already technology that you use for plastic drums that you can convert into fish production. What we call this is aquaculture. So inside the drum are the fish. On top of the drum are vegetables like kangkung, bayam, whatever. So simple hydroponic, aquaponic that can already give you vegetables and protein. But then, of course, it will take time. Like tilapia or catfish will be about like 3 to 4 months. But depends because. But you need to have training on this one if you would like to really have some sources to utilize the land area that you have. So I think that could be it. Important is to link with your local agriculture office in your area, because local agricultural office can provide free seedlings, vegetable seedlings or seeds if you would like to engage in school garden or even fish production. They can provide fingerling only if you send letter of request to them.
Alright, iya,
Okay.
siap, iya. Thank you, Mr. Jess. Terima kasih.
Sama-sama, Pak.
Siap.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jess. So I guess that if any more questions from our participants? All right, now we are over the time of the session.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you
Piapa.
so
Thank you,
much.
everyone, for your attention. I hope I have shared something relevant to your development of your proposal. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jess. Your suggestion very valuable to our participants. So that if you still have like some questions that you want to raise, you can send in the chat box or even send to the email that I communicate with you so that we can pass the question to Dr. Jess for additional inputs. Okay, so now we are now reaching to the end of the session. So may I request everyone to open the camera again. I want to see that how many are you here. We start the session with 40 participants, and now we have 63 participants. Thank you
Wow.
very much for being with us since the beginning of the session. So may I request everyone to open the camera for the last group photo of the training session.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the first shot. 1, 2, 3. Okay, please open the camera. All right, I'm checking now. Everybody open the camera. Brunei participants, please open the camera. All right, okay. Just please wait for the participant open the camera. All right, the next shot. Keep smiling. All right, okay, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so give another chance to the person who just opened the camera. Okay, the last one. Okay, I know that some are still driving in the car from Malaysia. Thank you for your participation. All right, okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
So,
you,
thank you,
everyone.
Dr.
All the
Jess.
best.
Thank
Good
you so
luck.
much. I think that very useful today for the session. So, you know that you can take his information for the proposal development. So, I actually for the Indonesian participants, we will have the special session with you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Please do not forget to join the special session for Indonesian participants. So we will discuss about the proposal development and challenges that you encounter. Right. So the session will be translated to Indonesian language by the ministry coordinator. So the session for tomorrow is for Indonesian participants. But for the Bruneian participant and Malaysian participant, if you want to join, I would like to suggest on Wednesday, September. On Wednesday, on the 4th September, we will have another clinical session to discuss about the proposal, something like this again. If you want to join the clinical session on the 4th September, you can answer in the feedback form, which our team will show on the screen. Okay, the feedback form is here and our team already sent in the chat box. So this training feedback form is for evaluating this session and plus the last 7 sessions. So there are 2 parts in the question that please, take a look carefully. The first evaluation part is for Dr. J's session. And another part is from the session 1 to session 7. All right. And then I have added some question about if you want to join the clinical session on the 4th September, you can click yes in the form. Okay, so the last part. So for your information, when you prepare the proposal, you can send the proposal to me for my, for my inputs or whatever, because we also have Dr. Jess and other speaker with us, so they can take a look if they have some such suggestions. So you can send the draft to us for the additional inputs. But however, please keep in mind that the final proposal should be submitted to us on 16 September. Okay, so I hope that today's session is very useful for you, and thank you very much, Dr. Jess, for your very fruitful suggestion and informative presentation to our participants, and also the very wonderful suggestion to our participants. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you very
Jess.
much.
Thank you very much, and
Thank
also
you very much,
thank you to all
MQ.
participants who stay with us since the
Thank you
beginning
very
of the
much.
session at 3 p.m. until now, nearly 5 p.m. Thank you so
Wow.
much for your
Great.
participation.
All the
All
best,
right.
everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Dr.
Thank you
Jess.
very much. Thank you,
Bye.
you,
Mrs.
Dr.
Piapa.
Jess.
Thank you, Mr.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
Jess.
you,
you, Mas
everyone.
Piapa.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
Terima
Mr.
kasih.
Piapa.
Bye. So please keep me in your proposal development process. If you are not sure how to develop proposal, you can send the question to my email. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Or even
Baik.
I send
Yeah.
message to my WhatsApp, Telegram, or Viber, or even in Line. All right, everybody.
Alright.
Thank you very much for your participation again. And I hope to see you Indonesian participant for tomorrow's session, special session for Indonesian schools, and the clinical session on Wednesday.
All
Thank you
right.
very
Right.
much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.